So in this very quick demo, we're going to have a look at how we do inter-tenant, inter-VRF communication over the ISN. So in this setup, I've got my tenant called Sharma North. I've got another tenant called Sharma DMZ. Both have got a VRF. Both have got a single app profile with a single EPG that's mapped to the 10.2 subnet on the north side and the 10.3 subnet on the DMZ side. The EPG on the 10.2 is the provider, and it's being consumed over on the 10.3 side. So very simple setup. Okay, so in my Nexus dashboard orchestrator, I've got a couple of tenants configured. So Sharma North and Sharma DMZ. They're pushed to the respective APICs. So we've got the North one and we've got the DMZ one. So they've both been pushed. I've also got a schema configured, so a Sharma schema. In here, I have a couple of templates that are configured, one for the North and one for the DMZ. In the North one, you'll see that I've got a VRF configured, just VRF number 1, and I've got a bridge domain configured, so BD1. There's no layer 2 stretch on this BD at all. Then I've got my app and my EPG, or my provider EPG, that's providing a contract for permit any. I've got the gateway address configured to enable the route leaking between tenants and VRFs. In my DMZ side, I've got the same. So I've got my VRF, I've got no layer 2 stretch on the BD, and this time it's the consumer side, so I don't need a gateway under the EPG as it's the consumer. Okay, so if we look over at APIC, what we'll do is we'll look at the North one first of all, and we can see that this has all been pushed. So my app's been pushed, my EPG has been pushed, and I've got my subnet configured underneath. And then if we just have a quickly verify that my BD is configured and it's got the same subnet ID or the same subnet in use there. Then what we can do is have a look at the DMZ side. And in the DMZ, you'll see that I've got my BD pushed and my VRF pushed as well. And what we've got is the 10.03 subnet on this side, and the app profile and EPG is also pushed over there. So what you'll notice is that I've also got these shadow tenants pushed. So on both sides, the shadow tenants are pushed. This is to enable the inter-site leaking and communication. And as you'll note, there's no app profiles or EPGs or anything configured. It's just a placeholder for the shadow objects that get created behind the scenes. So now this is all working. I've got a couple of virtual machines stood up. So I've got my on leaf 1, so the north side, which is at the top, and the DMZ leaf that's at the bottom. You can see the different routes that I've got configured on the VRF. And what you'll see is that I've got the 10.02 and the 10.03 subnets both learned on the respective sides of the network. What you'll also see is that the subnets have been learned, obviously, across the overlay network. So the 10.2 has been learned across the overlay, and the 10.3 is directly attached. And the opposite is true on the other side of the network. So the 10.2 is over the overlay, and 10.3 is locally there as well. So now what we'll do is have a quick look at the two virtual machines. So I've got a VM that's 10.02.11, and if we look at the north side, going to the EPG, we'll actually see this device attached. We'll see it obviously on the provider EPG here. So there's the 10.02.11 machine, and over on the DMZ side, if we look in here on the consumer, what we're going to see is also the machine there, which is the 10.03.11. I actually forgot to bind the domain when I push this, so I'll just quickly update this and add the domain, and that fault will disappear. Obviously, what I should have done is push that via the orchestrator, but now that fault's cleared and we've got 10.03.11. So what I can actually do now is a test and actually ping between these two machines just to verify the connectivity. So the 10.02.11 machine should be able to ping the 10.03.11 machine, and I should expect that's working. and the same the other direction. So it'll be able to ping the 10.02.11 machine. And that's it. So the setup's pretty basic, pretty straightforward, just to show you how this all hangs together. There's no external connectivity. There's no layer 3 out. This is just all done across the ISN network that we've got in place in the middle. The one thing to note is that the shadow tenants get created just because I've got non-stretched tenants, but obviously I need to stretch the communication. So that's just, I guess, one thing to look out for. But as I showed, when you look inside those tenants, you don't see any objects. So there's no app profiles or EPGs. They're just placeholders there. So if there are any follow-up questions, please feel free to drop me an email. Thanks a lot.